Hello and welcome to Is Your Business Keeping You Awake at Night? I'm the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist, Melanie McCool, and today I'm not just going to share with you how you can get a deep, peaceful night's sleep and fast, but also how you can recover from all of the symptoms of entrepreneur burnout so that you can run a peaceful business where you can go to sleep with satisfaction, knowing that you're going to wake in the morning exhilarated about the growth that you're experiencing in your business. See, what I'm going to share with you over the next few minutes is not just theory, it's from personal experience. And what I didn't know is that the kind of stress that leads to insomnia, right, is the same kind of stress that can absolutely take you out of the game, meaning my mission is to help you to not only get that better night's sleep, but also to get that beautiful entrepreneur mind of yours on board so that you don't have to, be forced to close down your business so you can recover like I did. See, what I'm going to share with you is not regurgitated how to get a good night's sleep and how to everything that you've likely already learned from others about burnout and how to keep yourself from experiencing it. Because that's, for me, was like trudging through the mud. Instead, I'm going to give you the fast and easy, the efficient, because who's got time, right, for the slow slog, right, to wellness? If you aren't sleeping well, it is costing you money, okay? As an entrepreneur, it is of utmost importance that we remain in our peak performance state. And by definition, if you aren't getting sleep, well, my friend, it's like you're walking around like a drunk, okay? And we all know that you're not going to, take your business to seven figures if you're drunk all the time. And so being well rested, but also getting some of the other symptoms of burnout under control is of incredible importance to your bottom line. I'm here to tell you that you need to treat sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. And, if that's not enough, well, my friend, treat sleep like your business depends on it, because it does. And as I said, I know firsthand, unfortunately. So my background, just real quickly before we dive into the content here, that I promise you will be different. It will give you some insight that I wasn't able to get from the wider world of how do you, recover from burnout. I have been in business for more than 20 years. And I probably burned out in the traditional sense 4 times or so before the big one. So in 2017, essentially, I developed a stress disorder. Okay, so burnout is a result of unmanaged stress. Now, let me just tell you, I was a master of self-care. I was doing all the things, meditating, eating right, taking all the adaptogenic herbs, all of that. And I still managed to have what's known as adrenal fatigue. Okay, so I burned out my adrenals. Anybody familiar with that? And then what I learned, would rather have learned it some other way than in my own body, is that when your adrenals are no longer able to function properly, your thyroid takes over. And so I burned out half my thyroid. Now, at this point, I'm telling you, I was completely sick. And I could not function as in my career as a sales and marketing professional. And I had to close down my business. It was the scariest time of my life. Okay. I started the business because I was, I was the one that was supporting my family. And here I was, not able to not even support myself, let alone those that I was responsible for. My heart was breaking and I was scared to death. What I didn't know, and what I want to tell you up front right now, is that if you are at the point where stress has created insomnia, you may already be experiencing what we know happens is the brain changes. Okay. So your brain changes under that amount of stress, and it takes away your creative mind. And so that, the entrepreneur drive, that creativity, the one that knows what the next right step is, the one that's going to make you the money, that goes away. And when that was gone, I didn't know if I'd ever come back. And I was scared to death. I mean, I was the kind of woman who, courage, my middle name, and at that point, there was none. So I had to find ways to come back, to bounce back. So that not only so that I could, support my family first and foremost, but then because I have a mission in life, and I couldn't possibly perform what it took to achieve that mission when I was, sick in bed and couldn't leave the house, couldn't even consider walking at my local nature reserve because I was so ill. And so I had to find ways that would help me, and fast. And that's why I'm here with you today. Now, I don't mean to frighten you, but I do want you to understand that if you are experiencing insomnia, if the stress that you're under has already gone that far, then my friend, it is time to get things under control right now, because that brain, the changes in your brain that I talked about, that can be reversed. And now you can begin the process of reversing that so that you can come back on board, have that beautiful creative mind of yours right here. Come back knowing what your next right step is in business. You remember that waking up with enthusiasm, exhilarated about the growth of your business? That's for you. And that's why I'm here today with you. And so understanding a little bit about insomnia, I think, is of importance. The knowing that, well, if you've never had insomnia, then you've never taken it for granted. You just sleep. You just sleep deeply. We're all born with this ability to sleep deeply. If you ever watch a baby, it can, be juggled around and just sleep. It's not a problem when we're small. But when we have insomnia, then we realize the importance of a good night's sleep, right? Well, what you should know is that sleep is required. It is required just as much as food and water and the air you breathe. In fact, if you go for more than 11 days without sleep, or 11 days, you can die. Death occurs without sleep over time. But as you likely already realize, that all of our human capabilities, paying attention, memory recall, learning, applying all the training that you've already taken on to be excellent at your business, even just dealing with the day-to-day stressors. And I know this is true, that if you don't get a good night's sleep, then just dealing with normal things can be incredibly overwhelming, right? But it gets worse. See, as a clinical hypnotherapist, I have seen over and over again how the poor sleep quality, or insomnia at its worst, can lead to and exacerbate things like depression, worse anxiety, but even psychosis. I'm just going to put this in here right here. Whenever I have asked a question about somebody being at the place of suicidal ideation, it's nearly always because they haven't been sleeping. So I think we better treat sleep like our life depends on it. Our mental health depends on it. And well, it goes without saying that if you are at a level of, mental disturbance like that, that obviously you cannot possibly be at peak performance to operate your business. And that lack of productivity is exactly why insomnia is the first topic in the Burnout Recovery Masterclass series. Because regardless of what somebody comes to my hypnotherapy practice with, whether it's, wanting to recover, bounce back from entrepreneurial burnout to make more money with less work, or if they're dealing with other issues, other mental issues, or issues with self-confidence, that kind of thing, or even medical conditions. I'm a medical hypnotherapist. And so one of the first things I'm going to ask is, how are you sleeping? And if insomnia is an issue, that's going to be resolved first, because you've got to treat sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. So let's talk about how insomnia, in my mind, as a professional who's worked with more than 500 clinical clients, how I see insomnia as like on the far end of the burnout spectrum. Okay. So burnout is defined by the World Health Organization as a syndrome resulting from chronic unmanaged stress. Okay. So it's a mental syndrome. They don't go so far as to talk about the physical, but I'll get to that in a moment. A mental syndrome that's defined by the symptoms of, one, being exhausted, that exhausted, overwhelmed feeling, completely frazzled, and no amount of, taking the weekends off or going on vacation or even rest seems to actually bring back that level of energy. That's one. Two is what they call depersonalization, which is a lot of the mental things that I see people come into the practice with. That's things, anxiety, depression, the feeling of being separate from one's work. It's a feeling, even feeling guilty, ashamed, right? Of anger and resentment towards the very business that you started with a fire in your belly, right? To not only have the freedom that you desire, but also to see your ideas come to fruition. A distance from that, a wanting to just like burn it all to the ground. And I tell you what, if you feel like you want to burn it all to the ground more than, once a month, then you're probably experiencing burnout. 3 is that level where you get to the lack of personal production. My friend, your business being stuck, you're, hitting a revenue ceiling, you're not knowing what your next right step is. That is a real problem as an entrepreneur, as you know, because it's not just that you feel like you should be further along than you are. You likely should be. If you are dealing with chronic unmanaged stress, if you're dealing with any level of burnout, if you're in the throes of insomnia at the far end, then you cannot possibly be performing at your highest level. So we talked about those 3 pillars that the World Health Organization talks about, but they also will acknowledge that chronic unmanaged stress results in up to 75% of doctors' visits. So that chronic unmanaged stress absolutely is giving the health conditions that I see people in my office, or it is making them worse, keeping the body from repairing properly. So if you think about what the cause of entrepreneur insomnia often is, it is that stress level is so high that cortisol, which is our stress hormone, is out of control. And excessive cortisol in the body will keep you from going to sleep and staying asleep. As if you've done any research on, why women under chronic stress and who have hormonal imbalances tend to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 in the morning, because of cortisol. And you might have seen advice to use adaptogenic herbs. And adaptogens can be wonderful if you aren't taking ones that are contraindicated for your condition. Be very careful, because they act as a kind of balm and reduce cortisol temporarily. But if you're taking adaptogens It's like taking the poison remedy while you're using the viper's fangs as a straw every day. Okay, because the number one source of 24/7 stress is just going to come back at you every day if you don't address it. The number one source of 24/7 stress lives between your own ears. And so that cortisol, the chronic mismanaged, unmanaged stress and cortisol levels high are essentially what it begins the cycle of insomnia, begins it. That insomnia then, in a sense, what I understand now as a hypnotherapist, it becomes a kind of habit. I know that sounds terrible, insomnia being a habit, but things that we do every single day of our life, like sleep that you probably took for granted until you experienced insomnia. You had good habits around sleep. You had good thoughts around sleep. You fell asleep as a habit. I think of it actually a whole lot like panic attacks, insomnia, because it's a habit of thought and a fear of not being able to sleep. And panic attack is a fear of fear. And the fear of fear causes the panic. The fear of not being able to sleep causes you to not be able to sleep. That, and then of course, the words that I use to talk and get you to this webinar is your business keeping you awake at night? Because that's often what the racing thoughts are that are going through your head, right? And so if you are at that level of burnout, if insomnia has begun its awful progression, then know that it's unfortunate, but it's true that insomnia, it can and does reduce immune system functioning. It can make you more susceptible to illness, increase our risk of developing chronic conditions, stress disorders, autoimmune flare-ups, chronic pain, issues like, diabetes, heart disease. The number one cause of death in women, heart disease, is made worse with lack of good quality deep sleep. And so that's why insomnia is the first step in a burnout recovery plan. And my friend, if you're not in absolute insomnia, because stress or sleep disorders, they have definitions, and if you're not in absolute insomnia, but you know that you don't get good quality sleep and that your mind is racing, keeping you up at night, this is for you. Because if I can keep you from getting to that level where you end up so ill that you're forced to shut down your business, or you just can't see hope for it, then, sleep, deep, quality, restorative sleep is going to be our first step, no matter what it is that we're doing. I would say deep, restorative sleep is a foundation of wellness, just like drinking your water, eating good food, and, making sure that you move your body and enjoy life. Sleep is right up there, my friends. And hypnotherapy is an incredible tool for managing stress, for improving sleep, and overcoming burnout, right? So as a hypnotherapist, I work with clients. I help them with various techniques. I have more than 9 certifications now. So I curate the experience for my clients. But what I do essentially is work to access that subconscious mind by putting you into a state of deep relaxation and focus so that we can make those positive changes at the level of the subconscious and your thoughts that ultimately are expressed in your behaviors and your habits. And hypnotherapy can also be used to address underlying causes of insomnia like trauma, okay, and anxiety. So know that hypnotherapy is used in combination. My burnout recovery intensive hypnosis package actually is in combination with the things that you're going to learn typically when you're looking at how to overcome burnout. Things like practicing self-care, setting better boundaries, right? Seeking support from others. But know that hypnotherapy is like your easy button for reducing the stress that you're under, managing stress. It's an easy button for creating what I call the happy dose, the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins that are a balm to the nervous system. And it's the easy button for that, but it's the only thing that's going to help you to address the number one source of 24/7 stress, which is the thoughts going on between your own ears. And that's where this gets really different really quickly. And that's why I can tell you, I can guarantee you that you can recover from burnout, bounce back stronger than before. Because I'm not just talking about regaining your mental and physical health. I'm talking about growing beyond what you've ever been before. See, I believe that you are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. And when you master the subconscious mind, you'll live an epic life. Look, you're going to get a better night's sleep, but you're also going to have a new outlook on life altogether. When you get rid of the negative forecaster of doom, the inner critic, the sense of imposter syndrome or comparisonitis, or that feelings of guilt, shame, and anger, really, that you should be further along than you are. When those are a thing of the past, my friend, that is when you have a peaceful business, that you go to bed satisfied, knowing that you've had a really wonderful day's work, sleep deeply, and wake with enthusiasm, right? To celebrate all the changes that you've made. That's why we incorporate hypnotherapy and what it can do for you. And, you might not be a total insomniac. It's fine. I promise you, this is like a superpower, except that it's not really a superpower. It's just our regular powers. We just weren't told about them, but it's my job to let you know about them. All right. So I thought it might be nice if I gave you a little dose of hypnotherapy. Now, I'll call this hypnosis. Let me get that straight for you. Sorry. Hypnotherapy is when you and I would work in a one-to-one basis, right? It is very much curated for you. It's bespoke. It's based on what you've shared with me, what I've heard the mental patterns are that are keeping you in the twisted habits. I'm calling that, all right? Keeping you, and we then unwire that stuff and then rewire in the good. That's hypnotherapy, one-to-one. We're going to do a little bit of hypnosis here, okay? So hypnosis it refers to the techniques that I use to help you to relax, to focus, so that the suggestions that I give you can sink into the subconscious mind. Hypnosis is something that we do either if I'm doing it with the group, so you're listening to me on a recording now, that's hypnosis, okay? Self-hypnosis is something that I teach. I'm a certified master trainer of hypnosis, and I do teach entrepreneurs self-hypnosis, which is another layer of beautiful change work. You can think of self-hypnosis like meditation with a goal. And that's very specific, and it's actually, created with you. And that's something that you can do on your own. But I digress. Because first, if you're in crisis, if you're in burnout, or if you're in dealing with, chronic insomnia right now, we're just going to do some hypnosis, right? You're learning something new that gets to change your life so that you can set your own GPS for the rest of your life. That comes a little bit later, right? Can we agree? All right. So I'm going to do just a little process with you here. And it's going to, we're going to work together for about 3 minutes. This is designed to help, reduce anxiety and stress levels, to promote a feeling of beautiful, calm, relaxation, and to create a more peaceful mindset. This is especially helpful for people who experience insomnia, because it helps to quiet the mind, right? And prepare the body for a more restful night's sleep. Now, I'm not going to do a whole insomnia hypnosis with you right now. I'm just going to show you a bit of what it's like to be hypnotized. And before I do that, I'm going to address a couple of things that people typically ask me, or have some misconceptions perhaps. First of all, is everybody hypnotizable? And I'll start the answer by saying, one, depth of trance is a myth. So in other words, it doesn't matter how deep you go, you can get the results. I have had clients who were so anxious that they could not close their eyes, and I had them just focus on one point in space, and they got the results they wanted. Which second thing is, they got the results they wanted, okay? So, meaning when you work with a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, it is what you consciously want is what I would talk to your subconscious about. In other words, we're not planting in things that you don't want. We're only doing what you consciously want and getting your subconscious mind on board. And as in regards to everybody being hypnotizable, again, I would say I curate the experience based on what somebody's what seems like they're going into trance or not. I curate the experience, and my goal is always that you get the outcome that you came for. So depth of trance isn't important. Everybody's hypnotizable. Not going to hypnotize you to cluck like chickens or do something you don't want to do. And you can't get stuck in hypnosis. Okay, so that's another question. Sometimes people honestly ask, and that's I guess I understand it. But you cannot get stuck in hypnosis at any time. If you wanted to, move about, or if you had to respond to somebody, that's a done deal, right? It's not something to be concerned about. And what kinds of things can hypnosis be used for? Well, let's just say it's wonderful for stopping bad habits and helping you to achieve your goals. And insomnia is a habit. Yeah. Insomnia is a habit of sleep. Just like your good sleep habits that, before you dealt with that thing, you just slept. It was something that you did every single day. Just like when you get in a car, you can do that same thing. It's not something you have to think about. It's all stored in the subconscious mind. So right now, if you're having trouble sleeping, it means that what's running the program is a habit of not sleeping. And that's an awful lot like, fear of not sleeping is leading to you not sleeping. Just like fear of fear is what causes the panic attack. Something I can help with really, really fast if you deal with anything remotely like that or know anybody who does. And so with that, I think we're just going to go for a little bit of a peaceful interlude here. Okay. Give you a little dose of a happy dose. And all you got to do is just make yourself comfortable. Just put your feet flat on the floor, sit more comfortable wherever you are. Listen, if you're listening to me while you're driving, operating heavy machinery, or walking around, don't. Just don't move just for a few minutes, okay? Because you might be really hypnotizable. And I don't want to put you into trance in a place that's dangerous, please. Okay. And the only other thing I would say is if you have conditions that prohibit you or would prohibit you from being hypnotized, like epilepsy or certain psychiatric conditions that you may know, just don't do this. I can actually help you without ever hypnotizing you. In fact, you've probably gotten a whole lot of really wonderful, positive suggestion from me already today. Can't help it. It's just what I do. I won't leave you the same, right? So all we're going to do here now is just making yourself comfortable. You can give a little focus to the breath, just taking a nice deep breath in. And then slowly exhale, just releasing tension and stress from your body. We're just going to take a few slow, deep breaths. Now, those deep breaths are down into your belly. So as you breathe in, you feel your belly expand, your lower ribs stretch. And then you're going to let that go twice as slow. And just keep doing that. Just keep breathing in and out slowly. Just breathe in, filling your belly and letting that go slowly. And you can close your eyes if they're not closed already. Allow your mind to become quiet and still. And just let your jaw relax. That's right. Little space between your teeth as you breathe in slowly and let it go slowly. We're going to take another deep breath in, stretch those lower ribs and let that go. And just imagine yourself now in a peaceful, relaxing place. Just imagine, make believe, take yourself there. Some place where you can feel incredibly relaxed. Knowing that nobody wants or needs anything. This is your time. And you can just let go. And as you breathe in and breathe out slowly, you can just allow wave after wave of calm flowing over you. Just washing away any tension in any area of your body. Just for a moment, you can notice any areas of tension and then let them go. That's right. Just wave after wave of relaxation. That's right. Now you can imagine a wonderful, warm, healing light flowing down into you and through you. From the top of your head all the way down through your body. Down through your legs, all the way down to your ankles, feet, and toes. A wonderful, warm, gentle light, filling you with a sense of peace and comfort. And just allowing that peace and comfort now as you breathe in and breathe out slowly. In a moment, I'll have you open your eyes. And when you do, you can bring this wonderful feeling back with you. You can return alert, feeling really, really good, better than you've felt in a long, long time. You can take a deep breath up behind your eyes, illuminating your brain. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, going back to the space. And just feeling what you feel now, knowing that my clients often report that they feel more relaxed than they felt in their entire lives. And you work with hypnotherapy, you can imagine that that would be really, really good for helping you to get to sleep. And so I would encourage you to incorporate, using hypnosis as part of your routine and to getting to sleep at night, right? The working with a hypnotherapist, working with me one-on-one, or listening to recorded hypnosis that is designed specifically for the types of stress that entrepreneurs are under, right? It can really make a huge difference in promoting that deep restorative sleep. And this isn't something that has to take a long time for it to work. I think that often when I'm working with people initially who are in burnout, they think, I just don't have time for this. I don't have time for anything else. I'm not asking you to learn or do anything other than put some headphones in and get some good sleep and to watch the changes that get to happen in your life. I promise you that as you commit to yourself in this way, this level of self-care, this level of self-love, as you commit to yourself in this way, your potential expands, right? As you move toward it, your potential expands and your mind expands, and you can never ever go back to the way that you were. So this isn't just about improving that your sleep quality, right? Reducing stress and overcoming burnout. This is about really becoming incredibly self-supporting so that you do have a different quality of life. And if having that superpower that I talked about, if mastering the subconscious mind so you can live an epic life is something that appeals to you, then I'm going to encourage you to book a call with me today. We can discuss whether working with me one-to-one or using my burnout recovery intensive hypnosis package is right for you. Either way, we're going to find a way, your way, for you to get a good quality night's sleep so that you can leave burnout in the past where it belongs. So I'm Melanie McCool, the Entrepreneur's Hypnotherapist, and I look forward to helping you to get some rest and to realize your highest potential in business. I look forward to talking to you.